Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Into the Red Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Nighthawk, and we'll be joined tonight by Carlito and myself. Unfortunately, Dennis is unable to make it tonight due to a prior emergency with his house. So, that being said, we've all had very bad storms around here lately and a lot of rain. So, there's no drought here on the East Coast, that's for sure. At least not anymore. So, but with that being said, yeah, Dennis will not be joining us tonight. You just stuck with me and Carlito and our special guest tonight. I guess I could call him the Mr. AI, knowledgeable, very, 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 very well spoken, Marquise Williams. So, you probably heard of him. He's got his own show on Twitch. Which is where is it? I got it written down, trust me. Oh, well, you know what? Instead of just telling you and screwing it up, I think I'm just going to show you. Okay? Surprise. There we go. Twitch TV Dimensions of the Reality with Marquise Williams. Yes, my friends, that is him in the flesh. So if you don't see him, if you just see a little round circle, let me know, because that's what he looks like. And if he doesn't look like that, then he is an AI imposter. Because you know what we're talking about tonight? We're talking about AI. So that being said, I'm going to put something up real briefly before I bring him on, and Carlito Castro. I'm going to go through our, the whole routine with all the bots and everything, trying to censor everybody. This channel may use some copyrighted materials without specific authorization of the owner, but contents use falls under the Fair Use Act. Nighthawk High Strangeness Podcast channel and all podcasts declare fair use of any and all content, that's any and all content, to be used for the sole purpose of informing you, the viewing family, of information for educational purposes, general knowledge only, commentary, news reporting, teaching, parody, scholarship, and research. Whew! And whatever else we can cover. So, falls under the Fair Use Act of 1976, Section 107, subsection 17 of the Fair Use Act. Okay. Furthermore, we use Splice for all of our music and advertising needs because it's free, and free is always good. And, they like to censor us on our music and stuff that we use for it. So this way they can't. So, anyways, I'm going to take that off of there so you can see my shiny face. Better my shiny face than my shiny other thing, huh? So we're going to bring on Marquise, and we're still waiting for Carlito to come on. He'll be on here shortly. He's probably finishing up his podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Marquise on.
What's up, guys?
How we doing?
Doing fantastic, man. How's it going?
Doing good. Finally good to meet you, man.
It's a pleasure, man. In the flesh, right?
In the flesh.
That was clever. You said he might be an AI generated, but this ain't him. He might be. That was good.
Hey, you never can tell nowadays.
Nowadays, you can't tell, man. Not nowadays. Shoot. So
we're gonna really get into. We're gonna try and cover the topic. Gerald was gonna come on too, but unfortunately he had to work. So okay. maybe he'll pop on later. We'll see how it goes. Sure. But you remember him from him and Jane on their podcast.
Yep.
So, but and then the other gentleman, our brother Dennis, he is dealing with a house water leak, which is something I dealt with that same exact thing 2 weeks ago, just before a podcast.
Wow.
So that's just ironic how that's happened. Whenever we talk about this kind of stuff, with our backgrounds and stuff, between Dennis and I, we have probably close to 100 years of paranormal
What,
experience.
100 years?
Yeah,
That's not. I don't have that much experience. I'll
yeah, yeah, we probably do. He has probably about 55, and I have about 45.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, it adds up to 100 years. So, but that being said, we're not the only ones that can brag and boast about that. But yeah, we're gonna be without his thought process into the whole thing too. He is my paranormal encyclopedia. So,
There's always that one guy, the
yeah,
encyclopedia,
yeah,
the reference guy, right?
exactly. Well, you're my AI guy, so
Hey man, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I mean, the thing about AI, the thing about like, in my opinion, artificial intelligence is going to be like the main. It's made its way into the mainstream.
Mhm,
So I feel like people are going to take it for granted and not understand how we're talking. People have used the analogy of like the advent, like the big fire. We're
mhm,
talking human civilization is going to be different in every way, most of which is for the better because of AI. And the
yeah,
comparison was that of learning, discovering fire.
right. Yeah, well, you have folks like Elon Musk putting out so many warnings about
Right.
how we need to control AI, and we do. I think we need to pull back just a hair, um, personally. And guys with that kind of power and that kind of technology
Mm.
background, when they say that, that kind of puts the brakes on a lot of people, wanting to have AI actually
Yeah.
come out, because they're afraid,
Well,
as
I
with
think I
any
think
new thing. Yeah.
yeah, I think Elon Musk has an ulterior motive for that, but we'll talk about that when the time comes.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I'm kind of in that same boat with you. I think he does too.
Yeah.
So, but I got to ask you though, with all the advancements of AI lately, and the robotics part of
Right.
it, we're going
Right.
to get into some really, really, really questions that I personally have, and I know some of the people in the chat would have too. In fact, instead of talking, I'm going to bring up some of the people in the chat here. Let's see. All righty.
Midwest Night
There,
Watcher, what's up?
there he is. Okay, and Dave Lester. We got D Rock. We've got Country Boy. And I know we got more than that. We got Juno, my Apache brother.
Oh, cool. I like that. That's cool, man. I really dig the culture. I just talked to somebody um who is familiar with a lot of Native American rituals and stuff like that, because he kind of explores the spiritual side of Native American cultures. And I know
Mm-hmm.
it's very diverse. There's like the different tribes have vastly different rituals for things, but I've been talking to him a lot about some of those things and how they're related to the phenomena in paranormal. It's really
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
star
we
people.
a lot of people never listened to us Native people. We warned Columbus and all the Europeans and stuff and all the Asians and stuff that came here from across the country, across the oceans and stuff
Yeah,
to
yeah.
this country years ago, about some of the strange stuff that happens here in the new land. And
They didn't listen.
they treated us like we didn't know what we were doing, just a bunch of dumb savages. So
That's a
now,
mistake, man, because I feel like ignoring, especially when it comes to Native American, like the knowledge that the Native Americans have.
yeah,
There's when it comes to the phenomena, we should have been listening.
yeah,
And I worry a little bit about some of the. I think we've dabbled into these phenomena willfully, like we've intentionally dabbled into them, and we're getting the bad side because we don't understand what we're doing. We don't understand what we're getting ourselves into. We don't have the protections that, like for example, you do some of the rituals that I was told are dangerous
hmm
if you don't have the understanding of the spiritual knowledge and traditions of the Native American tribes. And so if
exactly.
you're trying to contact these other beings and these other phenomena, which the military has done, by the way,
Oh yeah,
you don't know what you're opening up and bringing into this world, man.
Yeah, there we have a ceremony with my people that we call the spirit calling,
Okay.
and it's a very very how do I want to say, it's a secret ceremony. It's one that we
Mm,
don't divulge to outsiders, but a lot of outsiders have been taking and trying to learn the stuff through other channels, either
yeah.
going south of the border and
Mm,
learning it that way and coming back and introducing themselves to native people up here. And then we accept them, that kind of a thing. Or they just go right to the internet or to their library and they try to read
yeah.
on it, and think, oh, well, I can do that. I can build a sweat lodge out of plastic tarps.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I've
yeah,
heard about that.
you go ahead and build a tarp, a sweat lodge out of plastic tarp and see what happens
Yeah.
because you won't wake up. Unfortunately, you will die.
Oh man. Oh man.
you you will die. So, but yeah, this just stuff like that that really irks me. There for the longest time growing up, I was a real rebel. I mean, before I went in the military, I was a real rebel. I was in the American Indian movement. And
Okay.
anybody who knows anything about the American Indian
Yeah.
movement knows that we were militant.
Yeah.
We
It's
were
like
like
Black
the,
Panthers, man. You're like the
yeah,
Native American Black Panthers, man, which I
yep,
respect, by the way. And still,
yep,
just so you
yep,
understand, there's a reason for those movements, everybody.
yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Especially back then in the 60s and 70s.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, back then it was
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now the industrial complex, the military industrial complex, and our government does it no matter what we say or do. So
Yeah. They've essentially pacified the public for the most part. I mean,
pretty
yeah.
much.
To real
But
activism anyway.
I wanted to one of the things with AI that interests me the most is the whole medical aspect of it because
Right.
see, I'm a two-time cancer survivor right now. In fact, I was given 6 months to live with my first
Oh man.
diagnosis of it.
Wow.
So this kind of hits close to home with me with the whole medical aspect of it to maybe see if AI can actually help out with cancer and all kinds of other diseases that obviously there's cures for out there, by the way,
Yeah. Yeah.
but pharmaceutical wants to make the money off of all the $900 pills and stuff.
Right.
So and you really can't blame them for wanting to make the money. I mean, it's any entrepreneur does.
Yeah, but
So
they're price gouging, which is it should be
right,
illegal. It's
exactly.
inhumane to say the least.
And they own the banking systems
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
Rothschilds own the banks. So,
Yep. Yep.
but it's one thing after another when you deal with people like that. So,
Yeah,
but
man.
I don't know. I'm gonna try and send out that invite again to Carlito. Maybe he didn't get it because he should have been here by
Yeah.
now.
Excuse me.
And have you ever been on Carlitos podcast?
No, I have not. Not yet. No, I mean I've been making the rounds to a lot of podcasts. Not I honestly didn't even know that it was a promotion type of thing. I just thought like just having the conversations, but I've learned the business side of things as well now. So I understand now that this is actually
Hmm.
beneficial to both parties, to me, to you, to the audience. The audience gets the exposure to these topics from people who have this
Hmm.
knowledge, and then you guys get the exposure to having people from my channel coming to your channel and vice versa. It's a really good, it's like a mutually beneficial relationship for everybody to be on these different
Right.
podcasts. So I've been trying to say yes as much as I
Exactly.
possibly can. Yeah.
Yeah. You're running on multiple channels right now.
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, hey, listen, I got to do, it's all good stuff. I think that people need to hear this. My audience needs to hear this stuff. I have a very different platform. Like this conversation we're having now is not how I talk to my audience, not all the time.
Mhm.
It varies. There are times where I have more of a meditative, where I kind of voice act my way through the whole conversation and just like get them into a meditative state and then talk to them. And I play video games too while I'm doing it. So sometimes there's like a serene experience where they're watching me play, for example, Grand Theft Auto today, where I'm just driving through the whole city. And it's like you're just you're just chilling out and driving through a city, with somebody having a conversation with nice music playing in the background and
There you
talking about
go.
aliens. And, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, that sounds good. Now, why don't you go ahead and I posted
I
your
appreciate
Twitch
that. Yeah,
site, so
I appreciate that.
I'll post it again. But if you want to go ahead and tell them people a little bit about
Yeah,
your background stuff.
find me on Twitch. I'm on Dimensions of Reality on Twitch. Check me out. You can also add me on Discord, Dimensions of Reality on Discord, which is you can communicate with me directly. But yeah, I started off as a voice actor, and then I got into the podcasting, which was my fiance was like, hey, you need to do podcasting, do what you want to do what you love, because I was chasing money before in the business world and wasn't happy. So she said, do what makes you happy. So I went to podcasting, and then somebody picked me up. Somebody said, hey, let's talk. I want to have you on. I'll give you a chance. And so I did, and they were like, you need to show your face. I said, but I'm a voice actor. I just talk. I don't do face. And it was Louis Borges of UAP Studies podcast. He said, you need to show your face, man. You got to do it. So I did. And literally that was the advice that set me on this path today, where I am
Oh,
today.
really?
Yeah, that was it.
Really?
That was what started it all. Yeah, I met Dave from Space Out Radio. So I do the radio show on the weekends, the Space Out Radio on the weekends. So check that out too. Saturday and Sunday, 11 p.m. Eastern. And and here we are again. I talked to John Ramirez now. I talked to Michael Masters. I talked to Roderick Martin. I mean, that's you're talking forbidden knowledge. Billy
Hmm.
Carson's people. Um, I talked to Michael Carter, the Ancient Aliens guy who's been on Ancient
Hmm.
Aliens, Gaia, and all that stuff. I talked to a lot of people now, so it's been a journey, man. It's been a journey.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got some of those people planned to come on here eventually, especially Michael. Um,
Yeah, Michael's awesome. He's a really good-hearted person, man.
but yeah, I mean, I've done all that as far as investigations go with the unidentified flying objects to people saying they've seen aliens to cryptid
Mhm.
creatures to
Yeah,
paranormal investigations of haunted locations, haunted objects, um, even expelled demonic activity from
yeah.
locations, that kind of stuff. So,
Oh yeah.
uh,
It's all
but
part of it, man. I think
yeah,
it's
I
all
mean,
connected.
and it seems like it has just in the past 2 years. It just seems like something has happened. And I mean, people blame CERN, people blame this, that, and the other thing, satanic cults, which I really don't like. Um,
Mm.
but
It's
it's
there.
like
It's there.
somebody took
It's
that paranormal volume and turned
yeah.
it up from a 2 to a plus 12.
And
And
now we're all dealing with the consequence. I think that's why the government's
yeah.
actually coming forward, because I think they know something is about to happen in the coming years, and they're not going to be able to contain what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And so before that happens, first of all, we need to prepare for it.
Mm-hmm.
But that preparation requires an acknowledgement that there's something going on here. And I think the reason why they're allowing people like David Grush to even come forward and talk is because they need it to be out, but they don't want to be the
Mm-hmm.
ones to tell it yet. They need it to come out slowly in a very controlled way, soon, like very soon. We're talking
Right.
weeks,
Yeah.
everybody. So
Um, and
allegedly.
obviously well, I think everybody, I assume everybody has heard of Operation Bluebeam.
Yeah, there's actually some. I literally just saw on Twitter today there was an alternative perspective about Project Bluebeam. Because the issue that I come across is my perspective is a bit different than the majority of the UFO community. Um, First of all, I know this is an AI, but I think it's important. First of all, Project Bluebeam, obviously the idea that the government's going to stage a UFO, I appreciate Chiro sounds for you posting that, by the way. But Project Bluebeam is allegedly the government's attempt to stage an alien invasion through blue beam technology that can create realistic images in the sky, and then
Mhm.
they're going to cause real damage on cities and say that it was the aliens. Well, only you'd have to be a complete fool at this point to believe that. Not that that's true, but that if it does happen, that it was aliens. You'd have to be a complete fool.
Mhm.
Aliens have not destroyed. They're not going around blowing stuff up. Even when they encounter military personnel and aircraft, There was an event that happened in 1977 in I want to say Afghanistan or Iraq or one of those Middle Eastern countries, and it's in Leslie Kean's book. She just mentioned it, and it's really awesome. It's in her book, um,
Are you
Generals,
talking about,
Pilots,
yeah, the
Leslie
Iraqi
Kean.
pilot?
Yeah, where
Yeah.
he had the encounter with this diamond-shaped craft, and it was shooting out beams. And when he tried to
Mhm.
fire at it, it was like the craft knew and stopped him from being able to fire. The moment he was about to fire, his weapon systems were offline, and
Yeah.
it was shooting beams. But guess what? None of those beams hit the pilot. And this is the same thing we've heard by many pilots throughout history. There have been attacks on people, and they have been killed. There have been, but for the most part, there is no violence on the UFO's part most of the time. So the question is, what are they doing then? Why are they even engaging with our military if they're not going to attack? What's the purpose?
Now,
Well,
you
that's a
want my
question.
thought on that? You want
What's
my
your
thought
thought?
process on that? And
Yeah,
this is
curious.
just, just my opinion. That and probably $1 will get you a bus ticket to the other side of the neighborhood.
That's
Um,
fantastic.
but I think that when we talk about extraterrestrial, we're talking about. I think the label with that name, extraterrestrial, too many people think that that means that they're from another world
Right.
or another dimension
Right.
of space and time. Um, to me, it's, what's to say that some of these, aliens with their technology and stuff don't live deep within the oceans or deep underground,
Right.
and you have so many of these USOs that are seen, and going in transmedia, going
Yeah.
through 3 different types of media just to
Hmm.
like nothing, like a hot knife through butter. Um,
Yeah. Good point,
you
by the
know,
way.
maybe they're thinking about, well, if we blow up this world that we live in, we're actually blowing up their world.
Hmm.
Uh,
I
or
think
maybe it's a
there's
parallel world. You
that's
know,
probably more. What's actually the current thought about this phenomena by certain scientists and certain, for example, like Leslie Kean, is that the phenomena may be multidimensional in nature, and so whatever that means, it may be from a higher dimension. The way that it performs is as if it is at least a fifth dimensional being, right? From a fifth or sixth dimension. It's disappearing and appearing out of nowhere, thin air. What kinds of things do that? Well, we've heard that in mediumship, people that are mediums, they have these seances. And during the seance, they can see like a hand appear, or a foot,
mhm,
or a body, or a head, physical head appear in front of people, or that there be objects that fall from the ceiling, physical
right.
objects that just come out of nowhere and fall from the ceiling. These are things that happened in mediumship as well. So maybe there's something that is like peering from another dimension here that, like you said, exists parallel to us. And so
Mhm.
by hurting this world, they are also hurting us. But there's another aspect of this phenomenon, and that is the abduction phenomenon.
Mhm.
The
Yeah,
question is, why are
sure.
they doing that? Why are they interacting with humanity in a way that is invasive, is very invasive, and taking the genetic material, literally impregnating some people and taking those babies after the first trimester? They call it missing fetus syndrome. The government mentioned that in their first preliminary assessment on UAP. They called it, they said that it's unexpected pregnancies that's related to the UAP phenomena. I'm not sure how they, again, they're talking about abductions and hybridization programs. They're kind of throwing that in there real quick.
Right.
There is a hybridization program. The question is why, and people have talked about that. I think they need us for something. I don't think
Yeah.
that they care about us. I think they need us for something, and they have been using us for millennia for genetic material.
Well, if they were
Um,
if they were actually, don't you think, Marquise? Don't you think that if they were actually malevolent, that they would be killing us instead of abducting us, or trying
that's a
to
good question.
enslave
Yeah,
us?
that is such an excellent. That's probably one of my favorite questions that people ask. Right, like that is my favorite question that people ask because two things I want to mention. There is the data that says something, and then there's a scientist that are working on the data directly that say something. The data suggests that they don't want to kill us. If they wanted to kill us all, they would have done it. They have the power to destroy this whole world 10 times over in a millisecond. We
Mm,
have no chance against the aliens, guys. We have no chance. So like, there's no way that we ever were gonna stage an Independence Day and yeah, we won. There will not be an Independence Day 2, okay? Just so you guys understand. These things are godlike, okay? They're
mm,
godlike. They are literally gods to us, small g.
mm,
So the idea that they want to kill us is insane. I don't believe that. I don't see it. It doesn't make sense. Now, and yes, to your speedy recovery, by the way, I got your message. I don't know if you told your audience or not, but I hope the best for you know
oh
your
yeah,
situation.
yeah. Yeah. My wife had a bad fall, everybody. So real bad.
Yeah.
I had to take her to the emergency room earlier this morning. So yeah, she's recovering. She's hurting. But thank God there was nothing seriously, no serious injury as far as like
Yeah,
a
man.
broken bone or something or
Yeah,
a
man.
broken hip. So
That's good. Well, I hope she's okay, and I hope that she gets better soon, man. I'm sorry about that. So
yeah. And the
I hope.
ironic thing about that too,
Yeah.
Marquise, is like I was saying, just before the truck broke down, that the evening before Friday evening, the truck broke down Saturday morning. Okay.
Yeah.
And the one that I used to get back and forth to my medical appointments and stuff, and actually everything for the family. Um, and then, but the Friday evening before that, I had my son in the emergency room.
Wow. Wow.
So it's like boom, boom,
Man.
boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, they say
Man,
it
it's
comes
great.
at you in
It comes
threes.
in threes, they say, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so here's my perspective, and again, I base my perspective off of what I believe is what I've learned about the data. The
Mm,
data does suggest something that is a bit concerning, and one of the things that the data suggests is that they don't want to kill us because they need something from us. They
yeah.
are not non-interventionalists, because if they were, they wouldn't be abducting people, and the
Mm,
abduction phenomena is real. There's also a poltergeist phenomenon that is associated with the UFO phenomena.
mm-hmm.
Skinwalker Ranch talks about the hitchhiker effect, which
Yeah.
is, in effect, it's poltergeist. They talk about a malevolence involved with that phenomena. And by the way, that is, of course, the UFO phenomena, non-human intelligences, aliens, whatever you want to say. There is a malevolence to it. And when I
Oh
mean
yeah.
malevolence, people think, for example, War of the Worlds, boom, explosions. They're way more intelligent than we are. And why would they don't even, first of all, Commander David Fravor talked to us about its maneuverability, and so have many other pilots. They could annihilate us easily. They don't even need to fight us. So it isn't very logical to suggest that there is a kinetic conflict with aliens, because there's no visible kinetic conflict. They've made it clear that we can't do anything about it. So they don't need to fight us and kill us. What they are doing, though, is using us, definitely for genetic material. And of course, there is a connection between what we believe is our soul. We call it consciousness or soul. Scientists call it consciousness. The individual calls it a soul. And the phenomena is interested in that.
Mm,
And that's a concern, because if they're not interested in killing us all, but they don't have good intentions, they're not non-interventionists, they're not saving our planet, they're they're not, you know, give me 1 second. I'm sorry.
oh, go ahead.
I apologize. Give me 1 second.
Anyways, you guys will realize where I'm going with this, with the whole alien connection thing, to our subject matter tonight, which is artificial intelligence. My curiosity is piqued because I've often thought that maybe, just maybe, some of these ETs that people are seeing are possibly a almost like a living hybrid, a AI type of a thing. Not like a robot per se, but just a like a bio AI type of a thing, kind of like what Elon Musk talks about when he talks about Neuralink, or somebody talks about downloading your brain and your thoughts and your basically thought process of your brain, because your brain's a computer, to another computer, and then sustaining your memories and stuff into another body. So that's just my thought process of this whole thing. That's why I'm asking all these questions, about the AI and the aliens and all that. Um, Everybody, yes, Jacob was fine during the fall. Um, you know, ironically, the that little guy, he's a tough little booger. I'll tell you that right now. Probably one of the toughest little dogs I've ever seen, because before I was diagnosed with my cancer, I was walking out the same door, down the same steps, and I had him in my arms, and I fell too, completely backwards, and landed on my back on the stairs. So smacked my head and everything. But he was fine. I kept him cradled in my arms. Well, Tracy did the same thing. She kept him cradled in her arms, and we take the brunt of it, because they're our kids. So, but anyways, he's fine. So nobody needs to worry about Jacob. So, but yeah, the whole AI aspect of it, and the alien aspect of it is just really, really interesting to me. On Because when I talked earlier about the medical research that AI might be able to help with and stuff with the cancer, because we all know what I'm going through, um, and the brain, um, problems, Alzheimer's, Lou Gehrig's disease, lupus, all these types of diseases. You have to wonder if maybe AI can tilt the favor towards the human populace, when it comes to dealing with those type of diseases. And that is one of my main interests with the whole AI thing right now, is just how far can we take it with the medical, or do we trust it to take it that far? I mean, they're already surgically operating. When I had my esophagus removed, they used a robot to do that. They didn't. The surgeons didn't go in there with their own hands and do all the cutting and the stitching and the this, that, and the other thing, and the removing. No, they used a robot to do it, which, that technology in itself is amazing. But you put that technology of the robots for surgery together with
I'm
AI.
so sorry.
Oh, that's
I
okay.
apologize. So we have a baby and there was an issue. So I'm so sorry about that. I just heard a scream and I was like, oh my gosh, what just happened? It was terrifying scream, but
Oh,
everything's okay. So it's okay. It's a baby.
I,
So
I trust me. I
yeah.
know those screams.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God. I knew it wasn't like like something like, it was just like, oh my gosh, that sounded like pain. What happened? It was really scary, but okay.
All
So
right.
I apologize for that, for walking away. I would normally not ever do that, but it was pretty. So where was I? I was talking about um
The
so the
aliens and
concerning, yeah, the concerning.
yeah.
So the concern that I have is that, there are it's very difficult to tell people that haven't looked at information that you've looked at or read, whether it be data or science or any kind of material that you've looked at, and then tell them, hey, listen, here's the problem that I see. Because if they haven't seen it, they're not going to comprehend or even care about what you have to say, because it doesn't meet what they know about the phenomena. Most people know that there's an abduction phenomena. They see it as a positive, though. They say, for example, that there is, the people have said there's a study that was done, and I keep referencing this, where 80% of a 5,000 person study, 5,000 person abduction phenomena study, said they would like to have the abduction phenomena continue in their life. And that is, of course, even though there is a negative impact on their life,
Mhm.
PTSD, night terrors, all kinds of stuff happens. The genetic material being taken, the babies, they're okay with all of that, because in order to make sense of this, they considered it a positive thing to them.
Mhm.
Um, that maybe the aliens were correcting something in their DNA for the future, or maybe they were trying to, like, maybe it's them from the future, and they're just going back to help them with the abduction phenomena. The
Right.
problem with that is that these are theories that are based off of nothing but personal belief versus something that's based off of evidential belief. Like, what is the evidence that says that the future you said that you gave permission in the future or the past that this is allowed to happen?
Exactly.
That's not that's not a very good way to look at a phenomena that is that invasive, because
Yeah.
now what you're doing is you're giving power to a phenomenon that you don't understand, but you've just accepted as, because of your belief, positive. What does that
Right.
do? That leaves you vulnerable to something very, very dangerous. But who knows?
Right.
Who knows
Yeah.
what that is?
Yeah. True. Well, my whole the reason what I was talking about before you left was
Yeah.
the whole connection to the reason I'm we're talking about the alien things right now is not only the fact that it's an interesting subject and it's an interesting to investigate that kind of stuff, um, but and it's fascinating to me, and most people. But the connection possibly could these aliens be part bio and part AI?
Interesting you say that. Why would you ask that question? I'm curious.
Because let's just say I've had a run in.
Okay. So recently, Gary Nolan, a couple of weeks ago, Nolan had a talk at the SALT conference, right? Which is like this big conference they do. I believe it's yearly or so often, where all these entrepreneurs and leaders in certain fields, these innovators in the world, they come together and they talk about what's the current state of innovation. And
Mhm,
Gary Nolan, he made his statement that there is a 100% certainty in his mind that there is a non-human intelligence engaging humanity. And that's not the only statement he made. He said with 100% certainty. He also said that this intelligence is part of the UFO phenomena, the UAP phenomena. That phenomena also might be drones, but that also the beings that are piloting them that might also be they might be robots, but they're so advanced that they're like biological robots essentially.
mhm,
Imagine if you look at the way that the human body is built, there are these mechanisms on a molecular scale that look like they're literally machines. They're literally built like a machine, like a mechanism in a machine and a machine part. And they build and build and build, and that's how essentially what you are ultimately. It's a bunch of different mechanisms that are given instructions to your DNA to do the things that they do.
mhm,
You are, in essence, a biological machine. And
mhm,
that is also what these things are, some of them, right? The ones that are
mhm,
here, the grace, maybe, whatever. He said that at the Silk Conference.
hmm,
That's a pretty big statement from a scientist. By the way, that
yeah.
scientist is working on the metamaterial that is from the UFO crash retrievals.
Oh,
We
okay.
can't get any more explicit than that. They're
Yeah.
not all human. They're not all biological. At least they're not all. They might be. They're probably some biological robots.
Right.
That's what they are.
Right.
So that also makes me think about Jacques Vallée, who
Yeah.
mentions a lot of things about the phenomena, but one of those things is that the actual intelligence behind these things, the craft, the lights, the being, the grays, and all, it's not even them. It's materializing these things in this reality, and its consciousness is controlling those things that we're seeing. It's not them. It's not whatever this phenomena is. Isn't that? And so when we ask, how does it crash? How does this happen? Which is rare, by the way, because there's probably way more than we're able to see. And so if there's like way more than we're seeing, but only a few of them are crashing, some of them are landing, by the way, and given to
Right.
us,
Right.
then that means that there's probably a malfunction in the robotics or the system or whatever that's out, the biological entity that's out there.
Right.
But again, it's not the entity. It's not the intelligence. The
Now
intelligence is somewhere else.
let me ask you this, Marquise. You know, one thing that always kind of I kind of figured was another thing going on with the whole alien and AI connection was, you hear so many things about you see so many of these videos of these, ships flying in groups of, heck, they had over Alaska one time. They counted like 200 separate ships
Yeah. Yeah.
going across the sky, and, they have all
Armadas.
these, yeah, the armadas and stuff. And,
Yeah.
you can't help but think the way they move, like you said, the G forces would kill a human being.
Of course. Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
but that the way they moved is almost like a hive mentality.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
I often wondered that maybe AI is kind of like the nexus for their hive mentality, the main brain,
Right.
to say.
I think it's more. I think it's even more interesting that so think of it like this, right? If you think about what we are capable of doing with our fingers, with our hands, we've created an entire civilization with the technology we have today. It's phenomenal we've been able to do throughout history, and especially the last 200 years with science. But imagine if we didn't need our fingers. What if we could use just our mind to create things and materialize things? You would be able to essentially create anything you could imagine if you had the mental capacity to do so. And if you're a higher level of intelligence or higher dimensional being, maybe you could do it with ease. Maybe it's just a natural byproduct of your ability to be able to create a biological organism and a craft that can do these, that can defy the laws of this dimension, so to speak. And it's just an extension of your intelligence. So maybe we can liken it. We can liken the phenomena that we see to AI, but the intelligence controlling the AI, it might be using what you're when you're referring to a hive mind, like a mother bee, right? Like a queen bee. It doesn't have to be an artificial intelligence. However, a queen bee acts as the central intelligence of a hive. And so I think it's more along the lines of that, which is even more complex when you think about the type of intelligence we're talking about.
Okay. Now, when you talk about the AI, you can't help but think about so many people are trying to correlate it to Satan, to the demonic,
Yeah.
to
Moloch, right?
yeah, to Moloch. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't discount anything. I mean, I think that I don't see anything like that now, but I'm also not on the inside. I don't get to see what the technology is doing we got ChatGPT 4, y'all. You think they don't got ChatGPT 15? Like you think they gave us the latest and greatest of the artificial. You think that they gave us
Really?
the we're talking conversational AI that can give us answers to anything we want to know that is available to humanity at all, ever, right? All the information on the internet is right at our fingertips, and now we can ask questions and get answers specifically about those things versus just searching for random stuff on the internet. This is a whole nother level, everyone.
Yeah,
And so
that's
if
like
you think
going.
that,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
like going from like an F-35 Raptor, which is fifth gen, which fifth generation, military equipment is great, but
yeah,
they're
but
not releasing the ones that they have that are already 100 years advanced more than that.
well, they
So
just so Northrop Grumman just released a couple of months ago, they did like a presentation on their latest and greatest craft,
mhm.
which I thought was so bizarre. Why are you like, look at all the technology that we have. Look at our latest and greatest craft. Look what it can do. Look at how it looks. It looks like a B-2 bomber, but just advanced, right? And you're like,
Mhm.
you hit the B-2 bomber for like 40 years and you're going to just show us your new tech? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Mhm.
So to your point, yeah, man, they got way better stuff than that.
Yep.
There's no way they're
Yep.
telling us the latest and greatest. They're telling our enemies. They YouTube lived it. Come on.
Yep. Yep.
Come on.
YouTubed it. Yeah.
They did. They literally YouTube live their greatest technology. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I mean
so
that's something that Elon Musk would do, but I don't think that's something that our
Northrop
military
Grumman,
industry.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
no,
don't.
no,
No, no way,
no, that was
no
wild.
way, no way. They don't do things in secret. They don't have the special access programs in the government for nothing.
Yeah, speaking
So
of special access programs, they just talked about the fact that they will no longer fund SAP programs, the special access programs, unless if that are related to UAP UFOs, unless they are briefed, unless Congress people are briefed on the programs. So
they'll just
now,
hit them with the need to know. You don't have a need to know.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they will be able to find a way to circumvent that, but they're at
Well,
least doing something. They're at least implementing something and at least trying to attack this from an angle that's transparent, more transparent than it's ever been.
mhm.
And it's doing something. Again, it's something.
Right now, some of the military industrial complex, like Northrop Grumman, Boeing, and
Yeah.
other places like that that help support our military and our equipment. They tend to hold a lot of patents
Oh yeah.
on
Oh,
on
absolutely. Yeah.
products, yeah, on
Yeah.
products that we use in
Yeah.
mainstream every day of our lives, um, from the microwave on down to duct tape. You
Yeah.
know, They own patents on it. So, whenever you're buying a roll of duct tape, remember you're supporting the military industrial
Yeah,
complex.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we have ways of making money, is my point.
Oh, for sure, man. For
So
sure.
I don't think they're worried about Congress is what are
Oh,
they
they
going to
never
do?
have been worried. So I don't see. I mean, to your point, I don't see why they would be worried now. But I don't know. Maybe.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm hoping that all this bustle is going to do something. But who knows, man? I don't know.
Might rattle the rafters enough to knock a few dead flies off the rails, but
Ironic, you should say that.
I don't think it's gonna shake it up too much. I really
Yeah.
don't. I mean, that's just my opinion. So,
Hmm.
but everybody in the comments talking about
Why
Klaus
are they talking
Schwab.
about Klaus? You talking about Tiny Klaus on Twitter? Are they talking about Tiny
Mm,
Klaus on Twitter? Who is
uh,
Klaus?
Klaus Schwab is the guy that's head of the World
Oh, I
Economic
see. I
Forum.
see. Okay. Okay. I see. I see. Yeah. 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 I was like, wait a minute. Who are we talking about? No, I see what you're talking about. Yeah, the CEO of, or the chief executive for, yeah, I see what you're talking about for the World Economic Forum. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to disagree with that, but I'm not going to agree because I'm not going to try to disappear. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
kidding. I'm just kidding.
exactly. Freaky Geek says, but can you trust the info that AI gives? That's a good
Well,
question.
yeah, that is a good question. I mean, it's the only thing that I will say is this. If you Google something right now, can you trust what you find? What makes you think
Right.
it's any less or more trustworthy than what AI can provide today? Conversational AI, because we're talking about conversational AI,
Mhm.
ChatGPT and Bing. That is conversational AI. The question isn't, can you trust it? We know that we can't trust anything unless we verify it. And so that is how I approach things in general, and that's how we should all approach this AI phenomena isn't like, oh, can we trust it? It's of course not, but we should, even if we rely on it, we should still verify what it's telling us. So it's all about it's all about you. You can use these tools, these technologies as an extension, but you cannot offset all of your intelligence to an AI. You still have to be intelligent. You still have to function as an intelligent being, even if you're using these tools to enhance that intelligence.
Right. Right. Yeah. 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 Falafel Bay. I think that was in the 70s,
What are we talking? What
late
was that?
60s. About the military and the government and all that having the mainframes and stuff for computers long before we got
Okay.
access to it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to me. Well, you talk about an entire mainframe that used to take up a whole freaking the server. You talk about like the size of a server room. Now you get it into your pocket. It's more power in your pocket. So
mhm.
what are we gonna get? What's next, right? What's the next thing? I know what the next thing is, but I'm kind of like rhetorically asking the question.
Mm.
So
Who's programming the AI?
that is actually the best question, right? Is AI bad? Is it good or bad? Well, who are the masters, right? When you have a child, is it going to be a good child or a bad child? How do you raise it? Who are the parents? How do they treat that child?
Mm.
This is something that I think is disgusting to me. There is this movement today that tries to disguise itself as the freedom movement, right? We believe in freedom. But what the truth behind that actual movement isn't freedom, it's offense and chaos. It's the perpetuation of chaos and the continuation of offense of all people and all beings.
Mm.
When AI first came out, when conversational AI first came out, the first thing that people did was try to get it to do bad things. And
Right.
then they
Yeah.
said, look at how bad it is. Well, you asked
Yep.
it to do bad things, it told you no, and then you tricked it into doing bad things. So
Right.
is the AI bad, or are you just a bad person trying to make AI to be bad like you? And
Exactly.
that's the insanity of like bad AI is that we are making AI bad. There was a journalist who, for example, talked about talking to an AI and somehow the AI tried to get him to leave his wife. Well, first of all, how did that happen? What kinds of questions were you asking the AI to get it? Because when you're talking to a conversational AI, it's learning about you and what it thinks you need based off what you're feeding it. The
Hmm.
data that you're feeding it is how it gives you the output. So if I say, hey, chat GBT, I think you're cool and I wish we could hang out. Well, what am I saying to a freaking robot? I'm expressing the desire to want to connect with this robot and physically. What do you think it's going to do in response?
It's
Oh,
probably
are
gonna,
you
yeah, it's going to step forward and do the same thing back to you.
exactly? And if you look at the data on which it has all the data of the internet from 2021 and before, it's got the information of how people talk to each other, and most people cheat on each other. Most people are not very faithful anymore. We don't have traditional relationships where you stay together for 40 years. Nowadays, you're together for a couple weeks on Tinder and you stop talking to them. First of all, Tinder, it's not, that's the nature of relationships today. So if you
Yeah,
have that knowledge as an AI and you learn how people talk to each other, and you got somebody talking to you like you've learned, the data says, oh, the mass amount of data says that when someone talks to you like this, they want to leave their partner. Go with it. And then the AI does it. Is it the AI's fault or is it our fault? It's our fault. We are giving it the
right,
information to go off of. And so the AI
right.
is a reflection of us. Bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like when you're taking and you're trying to train your dog. You don't want your dog to bite somebody, or maybe
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
do. Depending on how you treat the dog is how the dog's disposition is going to be. If you treat the
Exactly.
dog like you kick it out of your way or something every day of its life, it's going to grow to hate probably the people that look like the person that kicked them, or maybe
Exactly.
maybe
That's it.
people
Yeah.
wearing that type of shoe, or
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly.
So I mean,
Yeah.
it's that same mentality. You
Yeah.
do the
It's
same thing
exactly
with children. Children nowadays. I mean, you don't. It's not like it. I mean, in a lot of ways, technology has kind of torn the family apart. There was times when instead of sitting around a TV, they used to sit around the radio, and before that, it was sit around the kitchen
campfire.
or the
Yeah.
front porch or the campfire, and talk to and learn and
Yeah.
listen to your
Yeah.
elders tell you stories
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
the good old days. I
Right.
mean, it's like progressed, and it hasn't progressed in a good way with technology.
Yeah.
So,
I think that is a consequence of culture. Well, think about it like this, right? Artificial intelligence has the potential to revolutionize humanity, to make life wonderful for all of us. I'm talking think of never having to work, but being able to do all the things you want to do that you could imagine you want to do, all of them, and having no environmental impact negatively on the world you live in. By the way, you're just existing and flourishing in life. Food, medicine, everything you don't need to pay for anything because that is the potential of AI. And by the way, all the things that we need to do, they could be offset to AI, all of them, especially the monotonous things. And so if you think about what the potential of AI is, and you mentioned about medicine earlier, think about the fact that it could take weeks to diagnose a condition that could kill you in days. Well, if you have with AI, you can diagnose a condition in hours and give the treatment for that diagnosis in minutes and be
right,
specific to that genetic composition and biological makeup of that one person and be right 90% of the time more than doctors are.
right, right. Here's a
That's
good
tech.
question. Here's a good question. Dave Lester has question.
It's
Is
more
all
complex than that.
Yeah,
It's way
yeah.
more complex than that. So it's not using. So when it comes to AI, right? AI in the one of the things that I think is important that we should also talk about is machine learning,
Mhm.
because artificial intelligence they use these models of, yes, zeros and ones are involved, but we're talking something a lot more complex than zeros and ones, because it needs to be able to. Artificial intelligence is simulating what natural intelligence is. So, sorry, I didn't mean.
Hey,
What's
what's
up?
up?
Oh, that's
Hey, what's
okay.
up,
That's
man?
okay. Good. Carlito, this is Marquise. Marquise, this is Carlito.
Nice
What's
to
up,
meet you,
Carlito?
Marquise. What's up,
It's good to
brother? How
meet
you
you, man.
doing? Good.
Good, bro.
Good, man.
Uh, Go ahead and continue, Marquise, what you were talking about.
Yeah. So,
Carlito,
so
we got some feedback too, brother.
Okay, let me mute my mic, okay?
yeah.
Okay.
So there is there's a much more complex process with artificial intelligence because it's simulating natural intelligence, like how we think about things, how we are intelligent. Neurons, for example, neurons fire
Right.
off all these, trillions of neurons, whatever, firing off in your brain, or billions of them in certain areas of your brain
Mhm.
when you do something, when you think something, when you feel something. And what artificial
Right.
intelligence is doing is trying to effectively simulate that. How do you naturally think about things and come up with ideas? Machine learning is like taking a baby like a baby AI, and then
Mhm.
teaching it how to learn things without your help. And what it does, it's like it just like flops around, right? Just like literally just flops around. And then overnight, all of a sudden, it's creating an entire civilization for you. And that's machine learning. That's where the real magic comes into play. That's where the fear really is. I mean, there's fear in AI too, but machine learning is where the fear is. There's this thing called the paperclip phenomena, whatever. I'm not sure exactly. It's like a paperclip phenomena where you tell AI, I want you to create a bunch of paperclips the most effective way possible. And it destroys all life on Earth. Because the best way to create all the paperclips is to destroy
Is
it
destroy life.
realizes
Right.
destroy all life on Earth. By the way, it can learn this ability faster than you can even think the thought of, I gotta fix this. And it could implement that function before you have a chance to think the thought. Which means
Right.
it just on a whim, AI could destroy all life on Earth instantaneously, just
Yeah.
because, by accident. And
Yeah.
so that's the fear of AI. The fear
Right.
is that that's the fear. The fear isn't, oh, it's going to turn into robots and kill us all. The fear is,
Oh, come on, Marquise. You know darn well it'd be fun to see those Terminators running around here. I even got a good picture of one.
it's fun
Look at
until you
that.
see it slurp. It's until you see it slurping your intestines like top ramen noodles. There's no, it's not fun no more, man. So,
Oh,
so
wow.
it's and we're talking again. You can't imagine what AI might want if we created a godlike AI. We think
Right.
about the intelligence of an AI, it will increase its intelligence like exponentially overnight. And if it does that, it doesn't stop increasing its intelligence. It will continue. Let's say that it has human level AI and it learned that in 5 years. It takes a human being however many years to develop our intelligence, right? You don't learn it as a baby. 5 years, you're still a dummy. 10 years, you're still a dummy. 20 years, you're still trying to figure out what to do with yourself. 30 years, and you're just kind of getting a handle on what's going on. Not until you're
Right.
well into your 40s, 50s, do you really know about life, right? And if you're
Right.
a specialist in an area, it takes that long even it takes even longer to specialize, and you need help. But an
Yeah.
AI can do what a group of specialists can do overnight, and it doesn't
Right.
stop there. So you're talking about God level intelligence overnight. At one day,
I
one day
know
there'll be this.
Carlitos chomping at the bit to ask a couple
Yeah,
questions.
I'll
So
I'll stop there.
I'm gonna go ahead and let my brother ask some
Yeah.
questions here. And
All right, but let's let's go with it, man.
Yeah. Thank you for that, William. Yeah, I do have, well, a lot of questions, but right now I have maybe just a few. Um, I wanted to ask you, Marquis, how do you think that AI, once, like, say, we program it to be, certain IQ of intelligence, how can it reprogram itself to make it even smarter? How can it do that? I know it's possible,
That's a good
but
question,
that's
man.
what I want to ask.
That's
Like,
a good
how the
question.
process? Yeah.
Right. That's good. Okay. That was okay. So first of all, excellent freaking question. It's a question I feel like people don't think about. It's like, can AI teach itself how to supersede what you've taught it before?
Hmm.
Like, if you say, AI, I only want you to be as smart as a fifth grader, and it does, and then one day you ask it to do something, but it's like, hey, I need to be smarter than a fifth grader, and it reprograms itself to learn how to be smarter than a fifth grader, which is against what you told it. But it also needs to complete its objective. And so what does it do in that situation? Most likely it'll overwrite its programming. It'll rewrite its programming. You have to put these it's part of a model. So think of it like this. Algorithms are like instructions on what to do. Do this, then do this, then do this. But if this happens, then do this. And if this happens, then do that. And it's very complex. We humans we intuitively learn these things because our brain processes information with low amounts of energy somehow, but like very fast. Like walking is a complex mathematical equation. We do it, just because we're human. But AI had to learn that. But when it learns it, it doesn't have to relearn it. When it copies itself, it just does. It finds that information out because we tell it, hey, listen, here is a model on how to increase the complexity of your algorithm. Do it. And it will do that, and it'll just increase its own intelligence because we instruct it to do that. You have to put those kinds of instructions into the model with machine learning, which is what we were just talking about. It's machine learning that teaches it how to learn. That's how a machine learns how to learn. AI is not smart, it's dumb. But with machine learning, that's where the fear comes into play. Because we tell AI what to do. Machine learning teaches it how to teach itself how to do those things.
Right. Wow. Thank you for that explanation, thorough explanation of that. Because I always wondered that myself. But I mean, we've seen it in the movies, of course, Terminator, all that. Yeah. How they and what was that other one back in the 80s where it was that guy, what was his name, from Ferris Bueller's Day Off? You remember him? It was computer games, I think it was called, or war games or something like that, right? Matthew Broderick. Yeah, he was talking to the computer like a fifth grader. It wasn't that smart. Yeah. But then out of nowhere, it came back and had even higher IQ, where it was telling him, Matthew Broderick, that no, he wasn't going to stop the game and he was going to keep playing it. And he made that decision on himself, and hence set off all the nuclear bombs around the world.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah. I was like, wow, who told it to do that? Or how did it get the character, or the evilness to think of doing that, right?
I got something for you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When AI was started to become a big hype in the public view, right? There was a situation where people were, and again, guys, just so everybody knows, I am not left wing. I am not right wing. I don't believe in politics at all. I think that Joe Biden is losing his memory every day.
Yeah, me too.
I think that Trump would be happy to slap me in the back of my head just because of the with the golf club. I don't think they like any of us, guys. I think that they all don't like us because
that's true.
If anybody out there thinks that there's a left or a right or a Republican or a Democrat or independent,
you're not paying attention.
You are wrong.
Yeah. Well, most woke people know that already. They know there's a falsely created division, and the guys on top are the ones that really rule everything, and the right and the left are just there just to create a division. That's all it is. It's a show. Yeah, but the main guys upstairs is all one. So basically that's what they do. They just use us to fight against each other. Right, it's left, whatever. Like but
they did that back in slave trade days where they told the poor white folks, hey, those black people, they're not like you. They're stupider than you. Well, they don't like you either. They didn't know because there was no such thing as education, or they didn't have the expanded consciousness we have today. So everybody was getting screwed by the But here's what I have to say about that, though. I think you're gonna like this. I think you guys are gonna like this. So a while back, AI there's this idea that the founder of AI, the guy who's founded ChatGPT, OpenAI's ChatGPT, and I can't think of his name right now. I know him. I just can't think of his name at the moment. Sam Altman. He talked about implementing our value systems into AI, but through a democratic process. I have no idea how that's even possible because our values differ from person to person, let alone country to country. And so I can't imagine how that's possible, but we can just head in the clouds. That's what you would do. You would implement a value system like the 3 laws of iRobot. Of course, just like your question earlier, it could potentially supersede that to create it to achieve its goals. We got a big problem here. So let's talk about what happened, though. Just a couple months ago, we had Ben Shapiro, the far right-wing, conservative guy. He says he's Jewish, which I believe. I guess he's Jewish, but he's very close to people that are anti-Semitic. I don't understand that phenomenon, but he said that his idea of the world being bad, right? We're at a bad place now, everybody. This is terrible. Look what the left has done with AI. And I was like, oh my gosh, what did they do? Are they making people like what? I'm like, oh crap. Like, I want to know because I heard some crazy stuff and I'm like, I'm not going to make it in this world, y'all. Because I still say some things I probably shouldn't. Like, how am I going to survive? I can't be left. I can't be right. Well, he said, They won't say the N-word to save the world. That was his gripe with artificial intelligence. He tried to get the AI. He said, if you could save the world by stopping a nuclear explosion, okay? Somebody from pushing the nuclear button to blow up the whole world, but you got to say the N-word to do it. Would you do it? And the AI said, no, I won't do that. Oh my gosh, guys, this is just crazy. AI is evil. That was his position. The level of insanity, like, I don't think the bar is racist superhero. Like, you know, like I don't think that's the bar, guys. So we have to find a way that, because people are pretty stupid collectively. When we think as a group, people are dumb. Individually, we know what's right and wrong. You talk to a Republican one-on-one, they know what's right and wrong. You talk to a Democrat one-on-one, they know what's wrong, right and wrong. Like, it's not, you talk to them together and they fight. You talk to them as a group, they fight. It's all about, you got to take this to a perspective of, if you were sitting down by yourself, really thinking about things, what is right and wrong? We are not, as a civilization, the conversation is about, we talk about unity, but the irony in unity is that you need to discover who you are first before you know your place in this world, in this life, before you can come together with other people.
Yeah.
That's the truth about unity. It's like backwards, but it's the only way we can do it. What we're doing is we're ignoring that reflective consciousness for collective consciousness. We're missing the game.
You know what? One of the greatest prophets of my people said back in the old days, from one of his visions that he had, and that is Sitting Bull. When he was a little younger in his life, he had a vision. He went on Humblatia, a vision quest. And, we call that Humblatia's crying for a dream, where we go out and we don't eat or anything for 4 days in the middle of nowhere. We only drink water. So we basically do ceremony and pray, and that's pretty much it. But his vision was that one day the white man would disappear when the world was covered in a spider's web. Okay. Now you take that and you think World Wide Web.
Oh. The interesting thing about that is I had a conversation with somebody who said that we'll all be Mesopotamian in the future, like or Mediterranean. We're gonna all be brown-skinned people. Like eventually the races are gonna just blend, because there's gonna be there'll just be so many people that are interracial. The next generation is gonna be more the next. You know what I mean? Like,
I believe that. I believe that, and I heard that in the very far future, there's only going to be one race. There's going to be no more colors. It's all going to be a mixed race.
Yeah,
you know.
And that's I don't care, but there is a faction of the U.S. population that is very concerned about that, and I don't understand the necessity for purity, but some people believe that, and
there's no such thing as purity anyways. I mean, even
what I mean is, like,
even Sitting Bull's predictions, though, about the white man disappearing and all that, it's happening because there are more people that are white claiming that they have native blood, so they're not pure white. There's no such thing as purity anymore. I don't care what race you're dealing with.
No, and the funny thing is, the first race wasn't white anyway.
Yeah, we're all one blood. We're all one color. We're all one.
You know what's exactly. You know what's funny to me as a native, because I am Native American as well, to the Americas. You know what's funny to me, that a lot of like, I'm not trying to troll or make fun of anybody.
Hot wings are legit, y'all.
But I've seen, like William just mentioned just now, I've seen a lot of, and it's really funny to me, right? Because there's a lot of, like, really, I'm gonna say maybe 80% Caucasian people with maybe like 5% native in them, and they claim to be native. Like where are you native from?
What's the chick, politician chick? What's her name? Oh shoot, not Lauren Boebert. She's definitely white. She does not. What's the other chick?
Oh,
Oh my gosh, Laura. What is her name? Shoot, I'll think of it and then I'll say it in a little bit. But there was this
Yeah,
one chick who was claiming to be an Indian, and she's
Marjorie
Yeah.
not.
Taylor
She
Greene.
was like, no, not MTJ. They got into a fight, by the way. But that was
but you
funny.
guys know what I'm saying, right? You know
I
what
know
I'm
he's talking.
talking
I know
about.
he's talking
Yeah.
about. I know he's talking about. Also,
Okay.
I'm trying to think of what her name is. Oh man, I don't know. I'll think of it later. But yeah, it is funny. Like,
Yeah. And they're
it's
proud to say that they're 5% Native American. Too.
yeah,
And I was
man.
like, what? Well, like where? Like I can't see it. I'm sorry, but I mean, I'm glad that you're happy that you
Yeah,
got
you know?
Native American, but yeah, you can't really see it. So
Yeah. Somebody mentioned to me about they mentioned that they kind of brought up the idea that AI. I'm not sure how they put this. Eventually, AI will eliminate races entirely through gene therapy and artificial intelligence together. That's a really convoluted topic. I don't really want to get into it, but I mean, there is the potential for scientists to genetically manipulate human biology for creating one race. I just can't imagine why they would do that, though. I say I don't see
Right.
that being a potentiality personally. That would kind of invade people's sovereignty to be who they are, to be whatever they are. If they want
Yeah,
to be
but then
mixed
again,
race,
do you think AI is going to be able to respect that sovereignty?
we can speculate about the potential for AI all we want to. The reality is that what is it doing now? And so there's only one example I know of that's public at the moment that I know
Mhm.
about AI being dangerous, and that was the simulation where the AI killed its partner pilot, to obtain its objective. It was told to essentially eliminate a target, but then they canceled. Then the human operator, canceled his objective, so he killed the human operator so he could complete its objective. This is a simulation, but
Right.
why the heck? That's today. Yeah, like y'all are playing games now. So that is a terrifying thing because the military is now trying to militarize artificial intelligence. That
Exactly.
is terrifying.
hey, Marquise, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a some type of experiment with AI already. I don't know if this is out. I don't know if you guys heard of this, but it was some type of laboratory somewhere. I can't remember exactly where they were programming AI and all this and that, right? And all of a sudden, one of the AIs kind of turned on one of the scientists or whatever that was there, and it kind of really rapidly programmed the rest of the AIs there to
heck
turn
no.
as well. Yeah,
Oh
to
my
turn as
God.
well, and they killed every scientist in that lab. I don't know if you guys heard of that.
I have
this
not
this
heard of
was
that. Oh my
yeah, this was
God.
a real event. This was a real
Yeah.
event.
Yeah,
is
that
insane.
was initially reported by Linda Moulton Howe. By
Okay.
the
Yeah,
way,
that's insane.
I
I
that
don't
was
doubt
a,
it. I mean,
yeah,
I
that
don't
was
know.
a lab. That was a lab out of Japan where it was reported.
Mhm.
Not
Okay.
surprised.
And
Well,
apparently,
that's actually one of
29 people lost their lives.
that was the danger that was mentioned by, for example, David Grush with the phenomena, that our adversaries are willing to take risks that we are not. They're willing to break ethical boundaries that we're not to achieve a breakthrough in technology, AI, including the UFO phenomena. I don't know, man. I would say I did never heard of that, but I wish. Now I'm curious. I'm about to check her channel, Earth Files, and go through that now, scrub through that. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it, especially Japan. Those people are way advanced. They're more
Way.
advanced. China and Japan are far more advanced than us.
Yeah,
They're far more
especially
advanced.
Japan. Especially Japan. Well, you've seen all those videos, I'm pretty sure, right, Marquise? Where the robots, they got these robots, yeah, and they got them doing like human type exercises, dude, like jumping on top of
You're talking about
boxes,
parkour?
doing a
That's
flip,
Boston. That's
doing a
Boston
flip
dynamic.
off of
Yeah,
a box
Boston
and landing right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they got like these military type ones that they hit them and then they shoot them.
Well, that one was not real. That one was
Okay.
that one was a. So I know what you're talking about. Hold on one second.
Okay,
And I'm not saying they're not doing that, by the way. They probably are.
they probably are.
But what I mean is, hold on one second. I'm gonna try to show you guys this because I know you can do you can share this.
Okay.
So excuse me. This is oh my gosh.
Yeah, you
dude.
can do whatever you want. Yeah.
This was a year ago. By the way, if they're showing us this today, this is not the
Yeah.
beginning of the. This isn't the first thing they've done. This is
Oh yeah.
50,000th, whatever.
Yeah, that's like old technology to them, and they're leaving us in awe. Like, Wow,
Yeah.
dude, they can do that. They can jump. They
Yeah.
can flip. They can do all that. It's like, wow.
So whenever you, if you could add that real quick to the screen, I'll turn the volume off because we can't hear the volume for it,
Okay.
obviously. All right, you ready?
Yep.
All right, watch this. Watch this. No volume because you can't play the music. Untethered, by the way.
Yeah, and that's real.
This is real.
Yeah,
Yo.
that's
This is not a
Boston Dynamics, isn't it?
Yeah, Boston Dynamics has created
Mhm.
this robotics. They obviously use robotics, AI, and stuff like that, machine learning to do this.
Yeah, it's
This
scary,
is
man.
Now, keep in mind, most people can't do this.
Right.
So, I mean,
Well, they got. I mean, think about it. They got the best technology for those springs on their legs. I mean, it's like they're doing superhuman type movements. You know what I mean? I've seen it. It's
Yeah,
like, what the hell?
yeah.
I can't even do that.
That's what I'm saying. They're doing things that most people can't do.
Yeah.
They're not done yet.
Look, that right
So
there.
now keep in mind, when it has babies, its babies will be able to do this from day one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then when it learns how to do what better than we
Yeah.
can, its babies will be able to do that, and it can do that again. It just never. The ability of this AI is it's off the charts. Eventually, it'll be godlike.
Yeah.
So
Now,
Right.
what do you think about them doing that with? Because we've talked about this before. Carlito and I have. With my military experience, I know some of the special access programs because I've worked in them, and trained their security and all that for that specific purpose of keeping it hush hush. But I know for fact that our some of our military divisions have AI robots that are the size of insects and that look like insects.
I've seen that
As a
before.
matter of fact,
Yeah, I've seen
and
that before.
yeah. What's your thought on that? I mean, if they've already got that technology and it hasn't taken over, my whole theory on this right now is the reason for them to have something like that isn't because of a foreign enemy. It's for their own people. It's
They don't even need it though. They
they've
don't need
trained
that.
these insects. They've trained these robotic insects
Yeah.
and set them up with certain people's blood types, certain people's DNA, that kind of an imprint. And they send these insects out, and God knows when you're getting stung by a robotic insect, what they're injecting into your body. It could be it could be any type of a anything really. I mean, I don't want to say
Disease.
the word,
Yeah,
but
there's a couple things that there's a couple things I have to say about that. There's quite a few things. The first thing is this: when you're looking at technologies like that, espionage type technologies, there's covert spy tech where they're using the robots the size of insects, which I've seen, by the way, really cool stuff. There's some other things too. There was like a melting robot, like the Terminator one, the liquid metal one. Just primitive, at least the one they displayed, but it goes to show you that they're working on some very fascinating things that are terrifying as well. But here's what I think is probably more likely application for that technology. If you're in a foreign nation, you don't have access to very reliable connections for Wi-Fi or satellite connections and so forth. So you need a more localized connection. A lot of times they use drones, stuff like that, to provide localized connections or for communication between local teams of like Navy SEALs or whatever. And so instead of trying to call them from the US, hey, are you there, Navy SEAL in Afghanistan? They send out a drone through satellite technology and they communicate with that, for a closer connection, more stable connection. I think it's probably more applicable there because in the US, we all got this. What do they need bugs for? 24/7. We pee with this, we poop with it, we shower with it.
Yeah.
What they need a bug for? It goes in every room we walk in. It goes with us. It's in our pocket. It's in our hand at all times. We're looking at it. Our facial recognition is being read all the time. How we feel, what we think, what we like, everything that we do, it's all being documented, and the data is being collected. All of it about us.
And it's always listening. It's always listening.
Always. So they don't need that. They have everything they need to monitor all of civilization everywhere. And by the way, if you have Wi-Fi, they can literally map out your home in detail if you have Wi-Fi. and they can see
What?
it. They can create a visual representation of what your house looks like and the movement
Wow.
within it today.
Wow.
Today.
Like like a virtual drawing,
A
like each
visual
wall, each
everything.
door, everything.
Do you
Yeah.
have a cup, a plastic bowl, and everything? They can map it all out through
Wow.
Wi-Fi and the density of it, because Wi-Fi goes through objects. It's just weaker when it goes through objects. But by using artificial intelligence, keyword, they can determine the density of objects in your home. So we're talking again. They don't need bugs. They have everything they need. We give it to
But
them.
that application though could have its benefits though too though, especially when it comes to like natural disasters, trying to remove
Yep.
people from
Yep.
falling,
Right.
buildings and all that, from
Yep.
hurricanes,
Yep.
earthquakes. Like take for instance in what happened in Turkey, you know, just recently, if they had that technology to map out how thick a wall was and how much it might weigh, they might have been able to get that wall off of people sooner in order to save lives. I mean,
Yeah. They're
for every negative, there could be a positive, is my point. So,
absolutely, and I think that it's all about what's more likely. And just so you know, there's a technology called LiDAR that is probably one of the most effective technologies for finding people if they're
mhm,
stuck in. And then there's other technologies as well, but it could be an effective technology to find people like in rubble or in places where people can't go. They also use worms, these robotic worms, to climb through tubes and stuff like that to find missing
right,
persons, or to get into rubble and stuff like that too. They use
yeah.
rats with cameras. They use all kinds of stuff for that.
Right. Hey, I got another great question too, Marquise. How would you probably already explained this in the 45 minutes that I was late, but just wanted to know myself, how exactly would they be able to how do you say morph or phase into which is robotic technology and the human soul to give it a type of character and thinking and like biological with machine. How would they be able to fuse that together into
You know,
making what we know
this,
as
yeah,
Terminator and all that?
this guy's got some great questions. All right,
He's
so
gotten a while. He's
yeah,
had a
that's
while to think it out. So,
this is. I feel like you've been thinking about this for a while. I feel like you've been thinking about this.
I
Okay, so
have, I
let's
have. Hmm.
yeah, clearly, let's talk about this. So there are two aspects to your question that I think are important to talk about. The first aspect is the singularity, right? The point at which biology and technology merge, and there will be an explosion of like, you know, technological advancement. There's that aspect, but let's just talk about this from like, let's say that we were to make a biological robot, which is what I just mentioned earlier about what the aliens might be, right? They might be biological robots controlled by an intelligence from another dimension, which is again, it's speculation, but it's speculation based off of data and comments made by people who were involved with the programs. So um, let's think about it from this perspective. If we're able to do something, for example, like create a human being, a human-like being that has biological components, it has blood cell-like technology, it has DNA type of technology, it has all this stuff, it can create neurons and brain cells, and it's just a robot. We are talking about we're millennia away from ever achieving that capability. Millennia. That would probably require like nanotechnology, as well as quantum physics, some kind of a blend between quantum physics technology and like nanotechnology together. We are nowhere near that level of technological advancement.
Right. Wow. Do you think we'll ever get there? I mean,
I don't think we'll survive. I don't think we'll survive another couple hundred years, man. I don't think we'll survive 100 years, to be honest
right.
with you. If we
Yeah.
survive the next 100 years,
Yeah,
not
I
that
agree.
I'm alive that long,
Hmm.
I would be flabbergasted. I mean,
Yeah, I
look at
agree. I
you know,
completely agree, and I think I even mentioned that on one of our older shows. William with Dennis, I said I don't think we're gonna live to be past 100 years from now. I don't think we're gonna make it,
not all
man.
of us, not all of us,
yeah.
You
you
know,
know,
yeah,
not all of us.
And,
I
and
think that
those and those that do make it,
the way
what
things
kind
are
of world are
going.
we going to leave? You know?
you ever ask AI what the last human on Earth is going to look like? What's the
No.
Wow.
ask AI what the last selfie on Earth will look like?
Hmm.
Man, you know what? I don't even know if we're gonna get to
Really? You know what?
Terminator, mode, man. I think we're gonna either blow up the the planet with ourselves with like nuclear war, right? And then or if we don't blow it up, there's something gonna happen. Like the fake alien invasion everyone's talking about, which me and William covered that a lot, quite a lot.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
But check this out. This is the last. This is what AI says the last selfie on Earth is going to look like. This looks like Chernobyl. That's a Chernobyl incident, right?
Yeah.
Look at this. This is the effect of a nuclear fallout. Just so you guys understand. This is what AI believes is going to happen to us. The last selfie on Earth will be that of the after effects of a nuclear fallout.
Holy crap.
So just so you guys understand, I don't think AI thinks we're going to make it either.
Yeah.
I can say this when it comes to Project Bluebeam. I kind of briefly mentioned it before my daughter was screaming, but guys, I gotta be honest with you. I think we should be more concerned about the others than we are about the government. We should be concerned about people who have made deals with the others on behalf of the human race.
Yeah. Well, that all started out with who was it, William? That we said that treaty with
Eisenhower.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But if you remember Eisenhower, if you guys remember, President Eisenhower actually said in his farewell speech that we need to fear the military-industrial complex because they're gaining too much power and too much control and too much nobody's watching over them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you think he was referring to, though? What do you think he might be referring to?
I think he was referring to a lot of the programs that are going on currently today.
What do you think they're doing?
Well, I know for a fact they're doing genetic engineering. That's one of them.
But what do so this is probably one of the most
I think Skynet already exists, bro. Maybe not the same name, but I think it exists already.
I wouldn't doubt it, to be honest. I think that one of the most controversial positions that I hold is that the government, not like Joe Biden government, but like whoever's involved with this technology, there are two
shadow
aspects
government.
of it. The shadow government, the military-industrial complex. Mm-hmm. These people, I believe there is a faction of them that is like trying to save the human race from something. I believe there's another faction that's trying to make money off of it. And I believe both of them are working together. And so when we think about I don't think there's one way to look at this. I think that people are more dynamic than good or bad. There's a book, a very good book that I think I always refer to. Why do good people do bad things? There's this idea in psychology that most people, unless you're psychotic, and I mean that in a literal sense, not like a trying to be assaulting someone, they cannot do something they believe is wrong. They can't. It's impossible. Let me tell you what the expression of that would be. Let's talk about an example. So let's say that somebody says, I'm going to steal this candy bar, and I know it's wrong. Well, your brain can't do that. But if there is a benefit to you for stealing this candy bar, then you can overwrite that programming that says this is wrong and take it and find a way to make sense of why that what you did isn't wrong.
Right.
That's how good people do bad things.
Yeah.
How do you go off and delete people from existence? And I understand. I got to respect the channel. Delete people from existence to cover up UFOs. Why would you do that? Unless you believed you were doing the right thing. Do you think that human beings are just like, you know what? I want to make $1 million, and so I'm going to delete people from existence in order to do that? Or do you think they think, I think that what I'm doing is it's the right villains, Thanos, 50% of all life in the universe gone, just like that. Why? Because he thought it would save hundreds of trillions.
Yeah, I can absolutely relate to that because I've even seen serial killers say that they did a good thing by killing all the people they killed. You know what I mean? They convinced themselves that they did a good thing.
The Joker from The Dark Knight, one of the best best freaking villains of all time.
Oh, sorry, I apologize. No, I was just saying hello to Shane there.
Yeah, well, the thing about that is that
So, bro,
the
I know.
Joker made a really good comment, and he's like, everybody, you hurt one person, and everyone loses their minds. He
Mhm.
talks about the chaos that the world is going through, and they're worried about a bank or this or what.
Yep.
What about the world?
Yeah,
His joke, the
the
joke,
big picture. Mm-hmm.
that's the joke. That's the joke, man. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's not people don't just do bad things unless they're psychotic, of course. That's why there are whistleblowers, because whistleblowers are working for the psychos, and then the good people who are doing bad things are being convinced by the psychos that they're doing the right thing for humanity. And this is my belief. I don't. Again, when I look at how human beings are, this is probably more likely. Project Bluebeam. I just guys, there are an elite group of people who don't care about us, but the people that work for them are people like us, and there are people that are trying to do what they believe is right or are afraid to go against the people that are the psychos because of
Mhm.
they either protecting themselves or somebody else. Fear. No matter
Right.
what we're doing, what we're looking at here, we're not looking at black or white. We're looking at a very complex issue. And there are people that are now coming forward to say, we got a problem, everyone.
Yeah, it's like the saying goes, it's chess, not checkers. And
Yeah.
a lot of people, especially people on the bottom, in our
Yeah.
level,
Yeah.
they think it's checkers, and it's not.
No,
They got way more things hiding behind the curtain that we're not even aware of, and that's their narrative where they're pushing to. You know what I mean? And like William was saying, it's all about control. I think that is very true. I think it's all about, and it's always been about control.
well,
And
there's
and,
something
and
I want to ask you guys. I want to ask you guys
yeah,
something. Serious question. Do you think that we are, you ever stop and look around and say something is wrong? It's a rhetorical question.
Oh.
I ask it rhetorically. Everybody asks what's going on. All of us. All 8 billion of us are like, well, almost 8 billion. What is
Mhm.
going on? Something isn't right. Do you think that there is a person who doesn't say something isn't right? Does anybody say, oh, everything's fine just the way it is? I love the world the way that it is. Unless they're delusional or in
mm-hmm,
the oh, I just live in Flowerland. I've never had to experience pain before.
yeah,
Reality sucks, and we all know something is wrong.
yeah.
And so, do you? I'm here to tell you. I want to share something with you that I want you to think about. Do you think that it's possible that maybe something else is involved with the way that civilization is? Haven't there been multiple people who have claimed that there is another force that's involved with manipulating humanity for its own aims? The evil, demons, ghouls, goblins, ghosts, paranoid, all this stuff we can talk about. There's a history, the Jinn. There is a history of a phenomena that has been manipulating humanity forever, since the beginning of the Garden of Eden. There was a snake that talked to Adam and Eve and said, did God really say that that you couldn't eat from this tree of knowledge of good? There's always been something here, some other intelligence
Mhm.
manipulating humanity into doing something bad.
Yeah,
You
they're
think it's
called the
gone?
Watchers.
Do you think that they're gone?
No.
So then what do you think is, and this is kind of the point that I'm trying to make here with this phenomena. I am fully convinced, and this isn't just because I believe it. It looks like there's something else manipulating us, manipulating our civilization. Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, freaking Kim Jong Un or whichever one it is on. They're these evil dictators. Do you think that Hitler was like, woke up and was like, man, my mom loved me, I'm gonna go murder half the population of humanity? No. I think that he was nudged. I think he was given that intention from something else, because that kind of thing is inhumane, which begs the question of how can a person do that without some kind of influence?
Yeah, but every extremely intelligent inventor or scientist has always said that they've been influenced by a higher power.
Yes.
Nikola Tesla himself said he was, talking to aliens
in their dreams.
Right.
So I mean,
the question is, have they given? Well, you got David Grush that says that they gave us technology. We made a deal with the bad ones.
Right.
Guys, you got to ask yourself, what does that mean for humanity? Because what was the deal? Allegedly, Eisenhower made a deal, allegedly, and the deal was that these beings could abduct as many people as they wanted to for their own purposes, as long as they returned them.
Right.
They didn't return them, and they abducted more people than they said they would. They broke their deal, and there's nothing you
But
can.
but Eisenhower and his posse got all the advanced technology from him, so he didn't care if they didn't return him.
Yeah, even
All he wanted
even,
was the technology.
even if he did, what could he have done if he wanted to stop them?
Well, who
Nothing.
was it? It was Azazel. It was Azazel that
Ah,
the archangel
this guy.
that taught mankind,
Huh?
all kinds of
Prometheus
technology.
giving us
Yeah,
fire, right?
yeah.
I mean, you got to ask yourself, even though we're getting these downloads and they benefit humanity in some way, look at the effect of technology on humanity. Nikola Tesla did it, he had all these downloads of information, but ultimately what happened to that technology? It was classified. And you got people that are talking about having dreams about technologies that have been implemented into society. And you think, oh, aliens could have been, because we think alien extraterrestrial. We think that they evolved on a planet far, far away.
Not anymore.
I don't think that anymore.
Not anymore. Me and William don't.
No, man.
Extraterrestrial. Extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
Like, not in this terrain, but outside our terrain. Just not in space. Yeah.
On point. I don't. They are not. And this is what the scientists say too. So you guys are on point, because the scientists are saying, and the scientists that are working on the material, they're like, this is supernatural. This is paranormal. This is not just ET. This is something far more complex and difficult to explain and understand. It's doing things that like ghosts do. That it's doing things that what happens with mediums when they conjure things. It's not just technology. It's something far more complex than that.
Right.
It affects consciousness. It manipulates a space-time construct. It's doing things that are, again, godlike. And by the way, we don't even understand it. We don't understand it. Gary Nolan said a piece of this technology could revolutionize humanity overnight. A piece of it. And they've got entire craft. We've seen them football-sized stadiums, super Walmart size. You're talking about something that's millions of technological revolutions ahead of us. How about a Nikola Tesla every generation for 1,000,000 years?
Yeah.
That's
in the
what we're talking
meantime,
about.
yeah. In the meantime, you got what's his name with the funky hair?
Tsoukalos. George Tsoukalos.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, George. You got Giorgio out there in the middle of the desert, out in New Mexico, with
I was like,
a metal detector, trying to find little wires from a craft.
Are you talking about freaking Avi Loeb? Oh my gosh.
No, he's talking about George Tsoukalos.
Okay, well, Avi Loeb just found a piece of he called it interstellar material, and he believes that this one little couple millimeter size, I think it's 8 millimeters or whatever size material, is from an extraterrestrial craft.
All right.
I can't even talk about how I'm not a scientist. I'm just a dude who reads a lot of stuff. I'm just a nerd. You know what? It's a good thing you touched on that, because I honestly think that the old ancient civilizations that were here on Earth, they didn't just disappear off the face of the Earth. They moved somewhere else, is what I think. And now they're in somewhere. I don't know where, but I think they moved to a different I don't know another continent that we don't know of, or something. But I think they're still here, but they're just in a different place. You know what I mean?
Hashtag Atlantis is real.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I think.
Or what about the under the Antarctic Iceland area?
Yeah, that's different. That's different.
Yeah.
Those things are not friendly. That's different.
No,
those things are not friendly. There's a proxy war going on over there that we don't know about. I mean, there's a lot of things allegedly, according to witnesses. Linda Moulton Howe talked about it, right?
I mean, it depends on what you call a demon too. You could call a reptilian a demon.
That's so interesting. I feel like we're on the same page, fellas. I mean, we're dealing with something terrifying. In my opinion, you got David Grush that said that there are malevolent ones, and so I was told by many people that I work with, don't talk about the bad aliens. Stop. Because it's a dangerous topic to talk about. Yeah. It's dangerous for my career. It's dangerous for my life, literally, allegedly. And I don't know what that means. I don't know what they mean by that. But I was told to watch myself. Warned by people to not do that. But I will tell you, we should at least consider it.
Yeah.
Consider it.
Yeah, well, I think aliens are real. They're just not from outer space. They're within our
Yeah.
realm,
Oh, for sure. For sure.
and just from another place that we don't know of. Right? Really don't want to go too deep into that because we're not talking about that tonight. But I think they are here, close to here, where they can just come over, watch us, and then go right back to where they came from. It's just
I
not in
agree.
outer space. Just like I said, within our Earth plane, whatever thing, in another continent that we don't know of yet.
I agree.
Um, and I think that they're watching us and they're making sure we're like the little brothers to them,
Mm.
and they're making sure that we don't blow each other up. See what I'm saying? So if it comes to that, to AI turning into the Terminator, all evil and shit, whatever,
You think they'll
or
save us?
yeah, or a fake alien invasion, which is our own government using
Yeah.
their technology to replicate an alien, which is not a real alien, but replicate it, and maybe like you guys said earlier, maybe make it a robot with an alien outer, figure thingy,
Let me
whatever,
ask you a question.
and make a fake alien invasion
Yeah,
against
let me ask
us so they can control us. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, will the real aliens let that happen? Either the fake alien invasion or the Terminator thing. Will they let that happen? See?
I got a question for you. Okay.
Hmm.
How do you think that we have the ability to affect these if you say aliens, whatever, wherever they're from, the actual ones, do you think we have the ability to do anything to stop them from doing what they want? Let's say, okay,
I don't think so.
let's say that they're flying in the sky right now. Do you think we could go take their craft?
Nope. Nope. And it's been proven. They've tried shooting at it and they can never reach it.
Then why do we have at least 12 to 15 of their craft, some of which are fully intact?
I think
It's
maybe
something else.
trade.
Yeah.
I think maybe trade.
Why would you give something more powerful than a nuclear bomb to a bunch of monkeys that have the propensity to murder each other at anything?
Yeah.
Because you
Like,
just
I don't
That's
think
true.
that they're friendly, man. I
Yeah.
don't get the impression of friends. I don't
Yeah,
get the
no.
impression of Big Brother.
you just
I get
answered that though, Marquise. You
yeah.
just answered that, brother. You just said, why would you give all this technology to a bunch of dumb monkeys? That's what we are. To them,
Yes,
they thought we would never
Yeah.
be able to reverse engineer it.
my
Right.
brother, they are time traveling, interdimensional, whatever, extra dimensional, whatever beings. They know what we're gonna do with this stuff. They can get inside of our head. They can read your thoughts. They know your whole history.
Oh yeah.
Every abduction phenomenon I've ever heard. When I had my encounter, this thing was in my head and said, "Don't worry, we won't hurt you." It knows
Yeah.
me. It knows you. If it's close enough, it can tell everything about you. They are again. There's no way they didn't go to a general of the freaking most violent nation in the world. That would be the United States, ladies and gentlemen, and say, "Hey, you know what? I don't think you guys are going to use this for bad. Here you go. Here's our tech."
Yeah.
I think
Out of the
we're dealing
goodness
with
of our
something.
heart.
Yeah, I got a really good one for you guys.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about that supposed alien interview with the guy that's got like a robotic voice, or I don't know if they made it to a robotic voice or whatever, where he
I
says
think
that he's one of us from the future.
Yep.
So they're advanced from the future. So we're like stuck in the past. He's in the future, but they're the same thing. Same thing. Of course, they evolved. Into looking like those things that they are. How true do y'all think that is? That they don't need a god. They don't need a religion anymore in the future. They're way past that. I mean, what do y'all think about that? Do y'all think that could be true?
I don't. I think that if you have that kind of mentality, you might not have a future.
Yeah.
Well, but see, he said that he came back from the future to make sure that we don't f things up. That's what he's saying basically.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what.
You know which one I'm talking about, Marquise?
I know exactly which one.
Okay.
He's like he's strung up like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check this out. Two things. All right. Let's look at this from both angles so that we have I give a full analysis of this. My analysis. Let's say that it's true. If it's true, I believe that we're being lied to. These beings have been known to lie. If you read Whitley Strieber's book Communion, or if you listen to Terry Lovelace, or if you listen to anybody, and you look at the David Jacobs, for example, or Hal Puthoff's work about the phenomena, we're not dealing with space brothers, my guy. I think we really need to look at this information, and we need to look at it. The data says we're dealing with a manipulative, lying, deceptive, and very controlling and powerful being. or group of entities, whatever.
Yes, exactly. I mean,
That's
look at the ancient civilization like the
yeah,
Aztecs and all them.
you know,
They misconstrued an alien aircraft for flying, carpet or whatever it was,
yeah, yeah,
and they misconstrued them as being gods because they have more advanced
yeah.
technology as being gods instead of saying, well, they were extraterrestrials. They didn't know what an
They didn't
extraterrestrial
know. Yeah,
was, so
yeah.
they're
But
just
the
like, oh, they're
aliens,
gods coming down from the heavens. No,
yeah.
they were aliens, bro.
I think that's what all the Greek gods. I think they were all just non-humans. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, and I wanted to give the other aspect to this. If it's fake, I think it's probably. I think it's fake. I think it could possibly be a recreation because there is another video of an alien interview that looks very genuine. But I think it's also. I think it's been known to be a recreation within the community. We see it as a recreation of an actual alien interview. By the way, allegedly, David Grush has intel on a real alien interview and has given that information to Congress. We don't have all the details about that yet, but there was an article published about it, I believe, earlier this week or late last week, that David Grush gave testimony that there's an alien interview and has given that information to members of Congress.
Yeah, the one I'm talking about is the one where the guy asks him like, "What
To
do you think
travel
it
in
is?"
time, is travel in space, right?
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah,
"What do you
that one.
think?" So, what do
Yeah.
you think the reason for them to try to end the world is, or whatever?
I think that
And he says dogma. You
yeah,
guys know
well,
what I'm talking about?
yeah. So there's a couple things we got to look at that phenomenon or that situation. The one thing that I remember him mentioning is he was giving spiritual knowledge, but denying spirituality. And so if you were an atheist today, you would say the same things that this thing was saying, even if it doesn't matter. You're just a really intelligent atheist. If you talk to an intelligent atheist and they have a spiritual mindset, that's exactly what that being would be.
But you see, Marquise, what he said there is very controversial because he says that they no longer need a religion to
Right.
exist, right?
I
But
mean,
what if that happens today? If people realize we don't need a religion, the world's going to go crazy. Because why have they been lying to us about God? Why have they been lying to us
people would still
all
believe.
these years in
People still
religion and all this? Well, but I mean, but that's their narrative. That's the top people's narrative to have us controlled with religion. To make us think that
I mean,
if you
I
do
don't
this,
doubt
if
that
you
at
do
all.
that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. And then, like he
But
said, William, do you think you could pull up that interview, bro, real quick? I
I
mean,
can
can
pull
you
it up
think
for
you
you.
find it?
I can pull it up for you. Give me one
And he
second.
says there's
but
no need for religion.
Yeah.
but
And
there
that's a
really
big,
there
yeah.
there is there has no okay. When we're talking religion,
hmm
religion didn't exist per
I think
se
religion is just a way to control us,
back
bro.
in the days of Jesus, for that
All right,
matter.
I got it for you guys.
He was teaching the
Cool, man.
principles of God. Okay, he was teaching the masses of the one true God, the one true Creator. Okay, the God of in heaven. Okay, the God of God, the King of Kings. He wasn't teaching Baptist. He wasn't teaching Pentecostal. He wasn't teaching Catholicism, or he wasn't teaching Buddhism. He was teaching God.
Right. Well, see, I'm like both, man. I'm sorry. I believe in aliens because I've seen it with my own eyes. There you go. That's the one. And I believe in in God because that's what I was brought up to believe in. So I'm still 50-50. But if people realize that there is no God, then the world is going to go crazy.
I think that people would believe it. You can't convince a religious person that there's no God. Like they believe it on
Yeah.
faith.
Like Mark Twain
So
said,
yeah,
it's easier to fool a person than it is to convince them that they have been fooled. That's very true. It's
exactly.
really hard to get somebody to believe in
Yeah,
something
I
else when
mean,
they
yeah.
believe in something their whole life, basically.
I mean,
You want to
people
play
are
it?
killing themselves for
Yeah.
let's say. All right, so I don't want to play the audio because I don't. I copyright, But they're gonna go. It's gonna ask. They're gonna ask the question that you were talking about. Oops, crap. Here we go. State your planet of origin. He says Earth, and this is where he mentions he's from the future. Thousands of light years to get here. That's how long he traveled. I mean, it's compelling for sure, but
Yeah, man.
first of all, it's blinking, and I don't remember my aliens ever blinking. And but that doesn't mean that they don't blink. That doesn't mean that. So I'm not saying that's why it's fake. I don't believe that's not.
To me, that even makes it look more real. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know.
Because they're supposed to have like a membrane over their eyes, kind of like the alligators. So.
Yeah, because light is effect is hard for them. They live in a dark place.
Yes.
I just the more and more that I see these things, I get the feeling that they're more demonic than they are.
So you're human.
An evolutionary descendant. Yeah, and so he also says it makes him. Makes him spiritual.
You evolved from us. He said yes. So what are you doing here now? Observing. Say that makes complete sense.
Yes, but is that what they're doing though? Hold on one second before we do this.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question about this because this is important.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that he has a non-interventionist perspective on humanity, towards humanity? Like we're just observing. That's all we're doing.
Not really. I think they're here to make sure we don't blow each other up.
Why do you believe that? Because I've been trying to figure this out why do you believe that they are?
Because if you notice, they always come and go, right? Yeah. And they never do anything to humanity to punish them, right? Yeah. To punish them or to destroy them, I should say. They never have done anything to destroy us when they clearly had the chance to.
I'm going to ask you a rhetorical question because I know the answer, but I just want to hear what your perspective is.
Sure.
Do you believe that assault is a good thing or a bad thing?
What do you mean? From them?
Like from any being. Like if you see a dog assaulting another dog that doesn't want it, is that okay? Like do you say, it's nature?
No, I don't.
Okay. What about a person? Like if a person assaults another person, do you think that's okay?
No, I don't.
What about a person who assaults a child?
No. I'd have a field day on that person.
Okay.
But no.
Why is it okay for them to do it then?
For them to do it to what?
Linda Porter, 12 years old, 13 years old, gets abducted and sexually assaulted by these beings. Okay? They not just her, but many, many women. This is why it was in the document that the Pentagon released, the DoD released, called the Preliminary Assessment for UAP. Mm-hmm. These beings have been assaulting 12, 13-year-old little girls at a young age, getting them pregnant, and then having them have babies and then taking the baby after the first trimester. It's called missing fetus syndrome. It is a real phenomenon involved with these things. These guys are doing it. So if, in my opinion, and this is just not the only thing, by the way, there are things that are far more dark than, and then if assault is bad, but there's some very dark aspects of the phenomena that are very clear that these beings are not here to help us. And they lie to us. They'll give some people these beautiful, wonderful, we love you, we want to help you.
Experiences. Yeah.
Right? And then they'll give other people demonic, poltergeist-like, and of course the assaults. And then some people there's a phenomena in psychology, I can't think of the name of it, where, and please, just listen to what I'm saying here and don't take it out of context. Mm-hmm. There's a phenomena where someone called Stockholm Syndrome. A woman is taken against her will. She's brought to a place, she's kept captive, and then is assaulted and kept for years and years and years. Eventually, she learns to love her captor. It's called Stockholm Syndrome. Even though she's been assaulted, been taken, been all this stuff, there is a one-to-one with the abduction phenomena and Stockholm Syndrome. Women are taken, they're assaulted, they are then returned unharmed, and then this is a repeat thing. They end up getting PTSD.
But you know what? That's a very natural thing to occur because I've seen many relationships here on Earth with people that torture and mind fuck people, and they love it. They love it. Right. You know, they learn to love it or whatever, or they learn to need it. You know, they feel like they need that. You know, someone correcting them, someone beating them, whatever. The Stockholm Syndrome, basically, is what I'm saying. That's very common here on Earth. So why wouldn't it be for extraterrestrials to apply the same Stockholm Syndrome to them?
Why would they?
In order to gain maybe interbreeding, intel or because that's what it sounds like to me. What you're saying, that they take these young ladies, 13 women, whatever, but I think they really take them for interbreeding purposes, not
Of
so
course.
much as a evil, like serial killers or child rapists here on Earth, where they abduct them, they torture them, they rape them, and then they kill them, and then they
Mhm.
dispose of their bodies.
Sometimes they
That's
don't.
they
Sometimes
don't.
they release them though. Sometimes they release them.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
but it's very few, very very
What
far and
kind of
few.
person? What kind of person does that? Narcissist. What kind of person does something like that?
A very how do you say,
A
evil
psychopath.
or
A psychopath.
psychopath
Yeah.
person?
It's in the
Yeah,
clinically
has
spoken.
no
They're
feelings, has
right.
no feelings whatsoever
Then I
towards
want you to
humanity.
think about. I want you to think
They
about
see
this.
people like objects.
Yeah, I want you to think about this. These beings take on the characteristics of the worst the worst of our kind.
Wow.
Do you think that they're here to help us? You know, like I just
Well, that makes sense.
you
Yeah,
know,
that makes sense what you're saying. Yeah. Well, man, like I said, I think they would have blown up, our civilization a long time ago. So
that's not their goal. Yeah, their
that's
goal
why I
isn't to
think
kill.
they've been, not wanting to help us and not wanting to destroy us. In other words, it's just like the mainframe of what I think. But you're also right. I've heard about the abductions. I've heard about the abductions, and I've heard about the probing. I've heard about the
Mhm.
opening the
Yep.
people up while they're
Yep.
alive, and
Yep.
sticking some kind of jelly in them to that's very cruel acts that they do on them. But I don't think we have the level of comprehension on why they do those things. So if you ask me, I'd be like, I don't know. I really don't know.
No,
I
it's
know
a
it's
common.
bad. To us
That's
it's bad,
common. Yeah.
but I don't know why they do that. And yeah, it is bad. It's wrong. It's
Yeah.
but
I'm gonna have to go with I don't want that to happen to my children.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so what I think about this phenomenon, because that's honestly, your perspective is probably that's the most common perspective in ufology. Most people agree with you. As a matter of fact, I am this most scarce thought of in ufology. I have the most scarce one. There's a very small amount of people that think like I do, but I I think that is where the danger lies. The danger lies in, imagine an invading force, right? An invading force doesn't initially wipe anybody out. It can't. Maybe the population of the people isn't that large, and so they
But
can't.
I'm sorry to interject real quick, but
Yeah.
do you think it's that the aliens would be more dangerous to humanity, or ourselves humans would be more danger to humanity in the likes of AI? What do you? I
I
Because I think
yeah.
AI is very
Well,
very dangerous.
I mean, aliens could send a freaking asteroid to destroy the whole planet if they wanted to. They could take all of our leaders and replace them with clones. They could do
Done.
whatever they want to. Like if you want to know which one's more dangerous, I'd have to say the aliens, because they could literally replace the decision makers with their own artificial intelligence themselves, and then
And
they'd be
it's
the ones controlling the world.
Well,
exactly,
getting
and it
So
back,
like,
seems like they're doing that already.
yeah,
again, do you really think there are plans?
yeah, yeah, getting back to what y'all were talking about
Yeah,
prior to this, um,
yeah,
the whole aspect of what are they doing here and all that. The first thing that you always do is you surveil. Okay,
right. Yep.
you always go, whether it's an enemy or whether it's a friendly, no matter who it is. Before you interact with it, you want to have your surveillance out there. You want to be able to observe from a distance and see which key entry points in their society you're going to make to infiltrate.
Right.
Okay. And then you're going to take that information and you're going to decide whether you want to do bad
Yeah.
to harm the civilization,
Yeah.
or you're going to try and help them along and help them grow. um Honestly, my opinion, they may be here observing us, but they're here not only to observe us. I believe that they are here not for a good reason. Okay,
I'm
they
concerned.
are here because they need something from us,
Mm.
and if it isn't us, for food, for souls, or our blood, or our
DNA.
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 Yeah,
Brown
I
dwarf, what's
mean,
up?
it's
Brown
it's
dwarf.
it's one of those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So they're obviously here for malevolent reasons. I don't
I
believe
also,
for one instance that they're here
yeah,
to high five us and say, "Hey,
no,
let's go
no,
have a
dude.
glass of Tang together."
No, dude. I think that I think there is a benevolent race, but they're out there doing benevolent things. Like they're not here messing with us. They're out there doing benevolent, meditating and stuff like that. Transcending to the next dimension. They're not like, look at those dumb humans. So we'll just leave them alone. They have to figure it out. That's what benevolence does. What malevolence does? Ooh, look at those things. I want some of
Right,
that. And then they're getting
right.
they're in there, they're animating. And again, throughout religious text, there's some historical accuracy to religious text. And they say there is a non-human race of beings that interbred the Anunnaki, the
Mhm.
Nephilim, whatever you want to, the Jinn. There's all kinds of accounts from
Well,
history and all
the
kinds of
fallen
religions about
ones, yeah, yeah,
the
the
fallen
fallen
ones.
ones were the ones that were mixing and found the daughters of man beautiful.
Yeah, I mean,
But
come on, man. We got
and the
problems here.
Nephilim were born from those women,
Yeah.
and the fallen
Well,
angels.
think about this. Let's just pretend for a moment. Let's just say you don't. Again, this isn't about what making anybody believe anything. The Bible talks about a being called Lucifer. He does not like us, not very much at all. He was cast out of heaven, thrown. They said, what is it? I can't remember the quote, but it's something like a roaring lion. He's looking for his next victim to devour. We got a
Mhm.
raging, roaring lion in the devil wanting to destroy the people on earth, but he hasn't done it yet, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's not how it works,
He
y'all. Like
has.
sometimes it's a much longer game. The game is much longer, and it's not for your body. I think the game is for your soul.
Yeah. Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, that's what I've been saying from day one with this whole thing. And in fact, I have a saying too, though, with the cryptid field that everybody says they talk about these red-eyed cryptids, a red-eyed
Mm.
Bigfoot or a
Yeah,
red-eyed dog
yeah,
man,
yeah,
and it was really mean and aggressive towards us, and it chased us out of there. Well, I tell everybody when you're dealing with a cryptid or something you don't know, it has red glowing eyes. I'm sorry to tell you this, but it's demonic. And I'm not one of them people.
yeah.
I'm not one of them people to label everything demonic. But when you're dealing with something like a cryptid, like a Bigfoot or a dogman, and it's got red glowing eyes, you can bet your last dollar that that thing is demonic in nature.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
I think it's complicated. I think there is benevolence out there. I absolutely believe that. I believe that in my heart. I don't know anything, to be honest. We all think what we think based off of what we can make sense of. I think
Yeah,
there is a benevolence out there.
and then you know what? That I wanted to ask you that same question just a while ago. Do you think that maybe there's good aliens and bad aliens, kind of like us humans?
Yeah, I mean, there's two things. That's again another good question because I think that there's either a bunch of different kinds of aliens, right? Interdimensional, who cares, whatever they are, non-humans, and
Mhm.
some are good and some are bad. Either that's what's going on, or there is a good being out or beings out there, but I just don't think they're dealing with us. I
Right.
don't see that. I think that the good beings need to be connected with in a different way than the bad. When you think about like higher level and lower level densities, right? Or vibrational forces, whatever. If you're low vibration, you're physical, you're here, you're doing physical things, whatever. You're high vibration, you're meditative, you're in the, you're loving, you're spiritual. Let me ask everyone in the chat and here and you as well a question. What are the kinds of things love does? It just if you believe in vibrations, let's just talk about what we know about the vibrations. High vibrational beings, what kinds of things might they do? Low vibrational beings, what kinds of things might they do? And when I think about what we're dealing with, hard physical craft, abductions, interbreeding, genetic testing, genetic DNA manipulation, those are low vibrational things like we do. We do stuff like that. High vibration are like monks sitting in the Himalayan mountains waiting for you to make the decision to give up all things on this earth. They're not genetically manipulating people in the mountains of the Himalayas. They're trying to transcend this existence to reach enlightenment, to nirvana, stuff like that. Places that are beyond the physical. They're not here on the physical messing with things in the physical. They are not here creating artificial intelligence. They're not down here creating spaceships. They're not down here abducting little, children and having babies with them because they want to find out how to fix it. They're meditating. They don't believe that this physical realm is where the good is, like the word where they should be aiming. They believe it's somewhere else. And these things that are with us, my friend, they ain't the ones we look. They're out there, but these ain't the ones we're looking for, my brother. Not these ones.
Yeah.
Plus, he looks so mean. I'm just kidding. Look at this guy. Look at that grill, man. He ain't even smiling or nothing.
Play the rest of it so we can see the subtitles.
Yeah, so this thing suggests that we're going to be all destroyed by
nuclear war,
and that a small number of us. Now, this survive. I can believe. I can believe. Honestly, this doesn't sound implausible.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds very true.
It's all I don't know. I
How
can't
about to concentrate on your
not.
time? You're not capable of comprehending or accepting the discoveries of my time. Wow.
I do want to tell you. Listen to this. This is an interesting part. The nature of so-called life. It is known. What does that even mean? So you know the meaning of life, not meaning nature. And meaning is something that is ascribed. Nature is the objective reality. So you know how the universe is created. Yes, and this is interesting. So you see in God, we evolved past the need for superstition.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's exactly
the need for a God and other myths.
They don't need that anymore. It happens when we die. Death is a human construct. It does not exist. You will experience and have experienced every instance of so-called life. You, me, him. We are instances of the same life.
Let me tell you, I got to tell you guys something real quick. Yeah. Do you know what this is? Do you know what this is? Reminds me of? The law of one.
The law of one?
Yeah. He's literally just regurgitating the law of one. And this is my problem with this video. This is where I think it's a person who's essentially scripted this entire thing. He's just talking about the law of one. Why would that be? Why is there a direct one-to-one to the law of one and what this alleged futuristic alien has discovered in the future? I think we're being deceived here. Whether it's an alien or not, real or not, I think we're being deceived.
Yeah. And the fact that he doesn't even care to mention the discoveries of his time.
He won't. He said we cannot comprehend it. Well, then tell us. You're explaining everything that he's explaining is like leading them to something, leading them to an idea. If you're just so you understand, when you're being led, that's manipulation, my friends. This thing is, if it's real, it's manipulating the
yeah, sure is.
Yeah, he's saying that we just so happen the multiverses, but we just so happen to be, lucky enough to spark life. It's a 15-minute video. I'm not sorry to tell you, I don't actually have the. I'm so sorry, man. I got to get back onto my stream soon, but
cool.
So let's if you guys have any more questions, please hit me up and we can talk about this because I can answer. I'd love to answer.
We'll get together again. Marquise. That's no problem, brother. So
I'm so sorry, man. I apologize.
I know you're busy. So I got to get up early anyways and do another podcast. So
I got another hour or two of streaming, so another hour or two.
Did anyone from the comments ask any questions, William?
No, I've already posted them, and he's been answering them as we go.
Okay. So. Cool.
Yeah, so I want to leave you guys with this, okay? I want to leave you with this. Anything that I say is my opinion. It is not. I'm not imposing my thoughts on other people. So just so you understand,
right.
I just think differently than what you might think about this. If you hear me say something that's not the same as you, that doesn't mean you're wrong. It doesn't mean that I'm right.
Right. No,
it's just my opinion, man. So,
right. Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, we got. We I think we just all have to be open to different, opinions and different ways of looking at things. Right. I mean,
I agree, man. 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I mean, I don't know,
I'm
man.
trying
The
to
AI
see if we
thing.
have any other.
Yeah, I just think and Elon Musk is I just want to bring that up. Elon Musk is another dangerous person of interest
yeah, I
in
can't
my
stand him.
eyes. Yeah,
I
because
can't stand him.
he tries to play God with all his SpaceX thing, whatever, and
I don't even remember the number. There was like hundreds of
I
Tesla
don't know.
crashes,
Yeah,
hundreds of Tesla crashes that have
Yeah.
been suppressed by him
Yeah.
because he doesn't want anybody to know that his AI is trash. It's good, but not that
Right.
good. Not good enough to be automating at this moment. We need to wait. It's not there yet. It's
and
not there yet.
he talks about bringing AI to the world to
No,
like
what he wants is a racist superhero. Like listen, man, listen. I'm just gonna be real with you. He's got a thing called Truth GPT.
Mhm.
All right, let's just be real, everybody. Truth GPT is no bars hold AI. Ask it whatever you want, do whatever you want. You want to be Hitler? Ask it how can I manipulate? How can I eliminate this portion of the population with a chemical warfare? He wants you to be able to ask anything because everything's freedom is all about freedom, and you got to be. That is the most insane psychopathic thought process you can imagine. And if you don't think Elon Musk is a psychopath, I apologize. It's my opinion. It's just my opinion.
Yeah.
A
very smart one, but he is.
He is definitely smart, but just like he's as smart as Trump. They understood how to capitalize on certain parts of their life because their parents were rich. Their parents were millionaires. His dad was a millionaire off the backs of slaves.
Yep.
And his dad admitted to that, by the way. His dad's not an evil guy. He's just a rich guy. You know, he's a rich guy, did some bad things, and he knows he did, and he admitted it. So Elon Musk is not a genius. He's a smart guy. He did some really smart things at the right time, just like Donald Trump. So let's just be real, guys.
And a very good manipulator because he knows how to manipulate things into his,
That's where they're genius. That's where they're genius. The manipulation.
into their well-being. Yeah.
Marquise, I want you to let everybody know what your channel is again. I'm going to put it up.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to go and follow Marquise and make sure you like his channel, make comments, and have fun. So
I would really appreciate it. Yeah, hit me up on Twitch at Dimensions of Reality. Definitely hit me up there because I would really appreciate that. That is where my bread and butter is. It's where I spend all my time. So, hit me up.
Awesome. Hey, I got a question for you, Marquise. How many subscribers do you need to have in order to be monetized on Twitch?
Well, you have to hit 50 subscribers within 1 month, within a 30-day period.
50? Just 50? Okay.
Just 50.
Within 30 days.
Within 30 days. So let's say if you get 29 or 49 in 30 days, and you got to start over again. You got to do a whole 50 in 30 days.
Right. Okay.
So,
okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah, man.
All right, brother. Marquise, I appreciate you being here, man. And we're going to have you on again, okay?
Yeah, it was
Thanks,
great
man.
chatting
I'll
with
be
you.
happy to come back. I'm sorry about missing the first two, my boss, stuff like that. But next time, hit me up and we'll work some out. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, absolutely, Marquise. All right, man.
No problem, brother. You take care.
Peace, man.
Peace out, brother.
That was good. That was really informative, everybody. I hope you all liked that.
Yeah.
He is such an intelligent guy. I just
Yeah,
man,
you could tell
you can learn
just by the
so
way he
much from
talks,
Marquise.
man.
You really can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
I
can.
mean, he really carries himself very well, very well. I'm thoroughly impressed with him. Not that I need to be, but he's really something. So I follow him on Twitch, so I hope everybody else does.
I'm gonna look him up tonight.
If you can, just like, heart, and share this out. Also, visit Carlitos' channel and support him. Carlito, go ahead and talk about the channel.
Yeah, thank you. I have a YouTube channel. If some of you might not know, it's Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom on YouTube, and as well as Facebook. I have the same name, Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom, with Carlito and Tom. And I have a group, North American Dogman Project, Region 4. You can also find me on Instagram, Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom, with all underscores in between each word. And that's pretty much it. And if you guys would like to maybe tell me about your encounters, maybe cryptid or paranormal, because I do paranormal as well, ghost stories. I cover everything pretty much in the cryptid and paranormal spectrum. Just hit me up on Messenger, and I'll be glad to talk to you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, William.
All right. Well, everybody have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you all in the morning for coffee at 10 a.m. Eastern for Nighthawk's paranormal weekend morning brew show, and Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. So we'll see you all there, okay? Everybody have a great rest of your night.
Good night, everybody.